All right, welcome everyone, and we are very excited to have you with us for tonight's info session meeting with Neotech Academy. It is Thursday, the 6th of February, 2025, and we are not too far away from that date which you see on the screen there, the date of our next boot camp, which is February 16, 2025. So I'd highly recommend that you make a note of that because we always like to say this. This is really life-changing. This is not just another webinar that you might be attending right now or watching as a recording, but people's lives literally have been changed with what we are going to be discussing tonight. I always like to ask folks, and I did this as well right before we got started, if you could describe your ideal job, what would be your dream job? And the responses I got were typical of ones that I hear from folks. They want to make more money, of course. Who doesn't want to make more money, right? Flexibility, the ability to, work from home. If you've got kids, maybe not missing as many of their functions, school functions, things like that, because you're tied to the office all the time. So flexibility being a big thing, and we're going to talk about all of those things tonight. What we're also going to be discussing is it doesn't really matter, and we'll say this a few times because sometimes we can say something, but it doesn't quite sink in with people. So we'll say the important things a number of times. And here's one of the first things I want to say that's really important. It doesn't matter what your age is. In the IT industry, which is what we're going to be talking about tonight, a boot camp to give you experience on actual projects to help you with your resume, your CV. We'll help you with all of those things, putting that CV together. We're going to give you experience on real projects where you don't have any experience right now, presumably, but it doesn't matter what your age is. I don't care if you're in your 40s, your 50s, you're starting a new career, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your educational background is. I don't care if you have a degree in agriculture or whatever the case may be, animal husbandry. I don't know. I don't care what it is that you have your degree in, or if you don't have a degree, that's fine as well. What companies care about is not so much these things that we think check a lot of boxes. What they really care about is can you do the job, which we are going to be training you to do. And so we're going to go through some very important things, such as why choose a career in IT, first of all. And then secondly, why choose us? Why choose Neotech Academy? Well, we've been doing this for quite a while. We have had many, many students really all around the world. And one of our students is with us tonight. His name is Burke. You'll be able to ask him questions. And he was sitting in the same spot as a lot of you right now, where he was, tuning into an informational session like this and wondering, who are these guys? What are they all about? Is the IT industry really for me? And are these guys the appropriate avenue for me to get involved in the IT industry? So we'll have that interview coming up in just a little bit. He's one of our alumni, and you'll be able to ask him some questions as well. All right. So that's what we have in store for you tonight. Let's go ahead and start to dive into this. As I was saying to you a moment ago, why consider a career in IT? Well, IT is, guys, as I'm sure you're probably aware, is one of some of the fastest growing companies are in the IT industry. I'm sure we all can agree with that. You think of all the major companies that are out there, such as Apple or Nvidia or Intel, Meta. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And for the next generation, everything is going to be tech related. Jobs are available in all major cities, but you know what? Remote is available as well. Many of our students have received a remote job offer. Now, it's not a guarantee, getting a remote job offer, as some companies post-pandemic have asked folks to come into the office at least like on a part-time basis in a hybrid type role, but remote is still available. I want to emphasize that. There are more remote opportunities available in the IT industry today than there ever have been. And I mentioned the pandemic a second ago. So when you think back to the pandemic, I think we all learned a couple of things from that. That number one, COVID, I think, taught us that tomorrow is not a guarantee. How many of you would agree with that, by the way, that tomorrow is not a guarantee? And then secondly, that we've got to have a plan B. We can't rely on, corporate America sometimes or, the government. We've got to have a skill set that can potentially make us money no matter what. And I want you to think about that for a second. Do you have whatever your skill set is right now? Can your current skill set make you money regardless of what's happening in the economy? If we go into a recession, are you still going to be able to make money on a consistent basis? So we're going to teach you a skill set, and this skill set, it doesn't matter, like I was saying, what your background is. It's going to help you. We're going to help you get your foot in the door and then springboard into something even bigger from there, which I'll get into in just a little bit. Okay. But again, during COVID, yeah, it taught us that, tomorrow's not a guarantee, that, you have to have a plan B. But also this, when all these companies, here's what I was getting at, when all these companies were shutting down during the pandemic, guess what? In the IT industry, IT still thrived. Why? Because there were already so many remote opportunities available. COVID only increased those opportunities. So it doesn't matter what your age is, your educational background, what you're currently doing. I don't care if you're a bartender, if you're parking cars, or maybe you're a white collar, in a white collar profession. I've seen a lot of folks making that transition from being in the medical field, like nurses, for example, or education, like teachers, and then coming into this industry. So your background doesn't matter. Employers want to know, can you do the job? What I would like to do real quickly, and I'll check it out. I'll check out the chat in a second, guys, but can you type into the chat what what field you're currently in, so we can get kind of a gauge, get a feel for, what your background is for you guys who are in here. And I'll read those off in just a few minutes, okay? But I appreciate if you can type that into the chat for us. So software testing, this is where a lot of people begin their career in IT, software testing. Now notice what it says here, high-paying job opportunities, 90,000 plus. You can be part of a software development team. Notice what it also says here, no IT background required. That's what I've been telling you. And these positions are available at top tech companies, and you can work from home. Okay, now what is a software tester? Software testing is very, very important to a company because a company does not want to introduce a product to the public without knowing if the product works. Makes perfect sense, doesn't it? That's where you come in as a software tester. So your job is to test out the product before the end user, the actual customer, starts to use it. But it goes a little bit further than that. I mean, let's say, for example, you have used in the past an application, which I'm sure everybody here has. You've used Uber in the past. I'm sure a lot of you have. You've used Facebook, you've used Instagram, whatever. You name the application, you probably have used it. And that's what you bring to the table, because you have used technology. You know what a good product is. You try to use it and it works, right? That's what we're going to do, is give you some technical expertise to add on to what you already know. And together, those things will help you land a job potentially in the software testing field. But think about a software tester as being kind of like, oops, sorry about that, guys. Think about a software tester as being kind of like an editor of a book. Okay, so let's say you are an author, and you submit your rough draft to the publishing company. The editor looks it over and makes corrections, and things like that. And that's where you're going to come in. You'll have a list called requirements, and you'll simply check off each requirement. The requirement could be making sure that the font is the way that it's supposed to be, or the background color is correct, and that the product actually uses. Now, here's the good news, guys. It's not your job to actually correct the problem. So if there is a problem, if you find a bug, in other words, it's not for you to actually correct. Instead, that's for the software developer. You simply make a note of it, and the software developer actually makes the annotations. But I just want to pause for a moment here. From a big picture perspective, from like a 30,000 foot view, as they say. Does that make sense? I don't expect you to be an expert right now in software testing. This from like a 30,000 foot view. Does that make sense? You're testing out the product. You're making sure that everything was done correctly before the customer starts to use it. If you could just give me some acknowledgement in the chat there, give me a Y or yes, that from a big picture sense, does that make sense? Very good, very good. Let me go back here real quickly and read some of these. So we've got folks that are in sales, that are in the medical field, always medical field. Really, always sales as well. I noticed that is in addition to medical field. We've got accounting, film and TV industry. That's kind of a newer one. I don't recall seeing that one when I've asked this question before. Registered nurse, there we go. Banking, very good. Kind of a cornucopia of professions. So we offer a career-focused syllabus. And folks, you'll be able to meet a couple of our founders in just a little bit. Their names are Elian and Ahmet. They're going to tell you a little bit about themselves. Now, one of the great things about our curriculum is that you are being taught by people who are currently in the industry so they can keep up with current trends in the industry as well. The boot camp itself is 6 months. It's all on Zoom. Don't worry if you miss a session. The sessions are live. They're not recorded. I mean, they are recorded, yes, but we have the opportunity for you to attend them live. We always encourage you to do that. You can interact with your instructor. But yes, if you can't make a session, it is recorded. You can watch it at your convenience. There will be homework, all that good stuff, the things that you would expect, taking a course. And I always like to point out this is all that we do here at Neotech Academy. We train people how to have successful, lucrative careers in the IT industry. We do. We're not Neotech Academy for the IT industry and slash truck driving school or bartending school. I mean, this is all we do. This is all we do is we train people in the IT industry at a very high level. So you'll be acquiring significant technical knowledge in programming, coding languages and tools. But please note that we are a career-focused boot camp. Yeah, you want to take it seriously. This shouldn't be something that you approach haphazardly. This has to be something that you want to approach from the perspective of, I'm looking to get into a career in IT. I want these guys to train me. I'm going to take it seriously. We even encourage people to sign up with friends to help encourage them along the way. And again, our primary goal is to prepare you for the IT industry. We have a proven process. We've also gotten some accolades from third-party companies out there, such as Course Report, Best QA Testing Bootcamp for 2023. Course Report also rated us Best QA Testing Bootcamp for 2024. We are very proud of that, and they are very prestigious. Career Karma has us listed for 2024 as Best Software Testing Bootcamp. And again, it all starts here. Software testing, the course itself, our IT boot camp starts February 16th. It's a 6-month accelerated course. No IT background required. I was going to say this also, and Elian will probably throw this out there to you as well. If English is not your first language, I wouldn't be too concerned about that. Should you be able to communicate in English? Yes. But don't worry if your English is kind of, not the greatest. That's okay. Whatever your native language is, you speak that a whole lot better than I do. The employers do have to understand. Yes, you have to be able to communicate, but don't worry if English is your second language. Just know that you want to be able to communicate. So don't worry. Your English doesn't have to be perfect. It's just my point. Okay. So you'll learn more in these 6 months than a lot of people will learn being on the job for many years, because we're compressing all of that experience into a very short amount of time. So imagine where you are now and where you could be 6 months from now after the boot camp is concluded, having all this knowledge, having worked on actual projects that we can now put on your CV, real projects. Now, you will be exposed to a broad perspective of tools and languages throughout our program. So while a lot of people do start off with a career in software testing, which is more manual, they're really the trend in the industry is automation. So you might start off with a software as a software developer, and you can see this for yourself, guys. Don't look now, but when we're done, maybe go to Indeed.com or whatever job site you normally go to, and just look at the opportunities in your area. And most of them will say no experience necessary. They just want to know if you can do the job. But people start out with software testing, and then what happens is that winds up being a springboard, if you will, into other more lucrative uh, career paths. So you might end up being a scrum master. And don't worry if you're looking at some of these and you're thinking, what in the world's a scrum master? Is that is that a rugby term here? You will learn all of these things. We might talk about some things tonight, some terminology that you might not be familiar with, but you know what? If you get confused about new terminology, you're supposed to be confused about new terminology. But once you start using it and it becomes more of a very common thing for you to hear and to even speak yourself, of course, it starts to sink in. I always like to say when in high school you may have taken calculus, and the first semester of calculus, maybe you didn't quite understand every aspect of what you were learning. At first, maybe it was hard to understand, probably the best way of phrasing that. But then by the second semester, if you were asked about the first semester, you would probably respond by saying, hey, it was hard at first, but I've got it down by now. And then when you graduate altogether, you're like, hey, I know all about calculus. Of course, you'll forget it in a few years, right? If you don't use it. But what seems difficult at first, here's my point. After you've done it over and over and over, it becomes very easy. So don't be, scared of these terms, ETL tester or API tester, business analyst, cybersecurity analyst. You're probably familiar with that, a PM. But these are some other career paths which are higher paying generally than software testing. So you can start out with software testing, but we'll also train you on these or expose you to these other career paths that can pay a lot more money. All right, so what I want to do now, guys, is introduce to you one of our founders at Neotech Academy and lead instructor. His name is Elian. Elian's going to come on board here and tell you a little bit more about himself. I've told you just a little tiny bit, but he'll tell you more and more about Neotech as well. So you want to take it away, Elian?
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you, Eric, for the introduction. Let me start sharing my screen. So yeah, my name is Elion Limanai, and I've been a software developer for 20 years right now. So together with our friends, we decided to create a bootcamp for people that want to start a career in IT. And to make it easy, we created a course which is enough for people to learn, right, in 6 months and to be able to start working as a software tester. So when we talk about IT or computer science in general, there are a lot of fields, right? A lot of domains involved there. So we have software developers, we have software testers, we have database engineers or database architects and network engineers and DevOps and different types of fields in IT. Cybersecurity is one of them. But software tester is one of the domains, one of the ways to start working in IT. And it's, I believe it's one of the easiest one because you can learn whatever it's necessary for this field in in a short amount of time. So like in 6 months, you can learn about it. And then after that, you can start working as a software tester. After you learn as a software tester, after you start working as a software tester for a couple of years, then after that, you can switch to other fields in IT if you want to, let's say, grow even more, learn other tools and learn other technologies and move forward. Of course, you can do it and it's doable, but this is the first step to start working in IT. And just to have an idea, when we talk about software testing, we're talking about those people which are making sure that the software is working as expected. So software tester is also hired by the company. So let's say, let us take one of the examples, for example, Bank of America, right? One of the companies. So they have a software there, or let's say a web application where people can log in, they can check their account, they can send money to somebody, they can, I don't know, get a direct deposit or stuff like that in the application. So Bank of America hires software developers which are responsible to create this software, but also they hire software testers which they try to break, try to see if there is any problem. They hire also, let's say, cybersecurity people which are trying to see if there is any problem with their security, right? So different fields. So software testers are responsible. They are trying to test the software to see if anything goes wrong. And if they find a bug, if they find any problem, their job is not to fix the problem. Their job is only to report to the team. And the software developers, they learn about the bug, they learn about the problem, and they fix the problem. So doing this stuff, right, you can do it manually, right? That's why at the beginning of the course we teach about what is manual testing, how do we test the software, how do you report if there's a bug, and you can do these things manually with your keyboard and mouse. But of course, and then of course only by learning manual testing you can start working as a manual tester, but the salaries are low, and now more and more the companies, they want to switch to automation. So what is automation? You are writing some code, you're writing some a script which is right, which is testing the software, which is which is created by the developers, right? So that's why after manual testing we also teach about what is coding, right? We teach Java programming language. So why Java? Because Java is one of the commonly used and very strong programming language. Of course, there are a lot of different programming languages out there, but Java is a common language. And if you go to a company, even if they're using other softwares, even if they're using other programming languages, still, if you know Java, they will hire you because you can definitely learn other languages in a couple of weeks or months if you know one, and if you have a strong knowledge in one of the programming languages. Even myself, that I have 20 years in the field, I know a couple of programming languages. I know Java, I know, let's say, C Sharp, I know Node.js, but I don't know others. So if you go to a company, if they're using a new tool, I say, I don't know that one, but I know Java. And then still they'll hire me and they will give me a job in that company. So we spend a good amount of time learning about Java, about programming language. We spend like first 3 months of the bootcamp, and that's the core of the bootcamp. After we learn about coding, then we learn the testing automation tools. We learn about TestNG, Cucumber, Selenium. These are tools which allow us, right, to open the browser, right, to open, let's say, Chrome or Safari or Internet Explorer, whichever browser it is. You can open it and you can interact with the browser. You can send commands there. You can log into the Bank of America. Let's take the Bank of America example. You can log in there and you can, let's say, try to do something, right? Try to send some money, try to do something in that application, on whatever application is there. So this part here, guys, right? When we're talking about this part, we're talking about the part that the user sees. So if we're talking about Bank of America, the users, what they see the application where you can log in, you can do some actions in the account, check the balance, send some money, do some things there, right? Use Zelle, whatever there in the account. Whatever the user sees, you can do with these testing automation tools, right? You can write a script and your code will try to find any bug, any problems in the software. And then with this part here, right, with the first 3 steps, you can start applying for the jobs as a front-end tester, because a front-end tester or a front-end developer is the person which tests whatever the user sees, which is the front part of the software. But of course, all this information that we see and we can use and we can test and we can interact with, all the data are stored somewhere, which we call the database, which is the back part, which the user don't see, right? So if you have an account, of course, your balance is stored somewhere. If you do some transactions, all the transactions are stored somewhere. So that place is called database, and also the APIs are those tools that allow us to interact between the front end and the back end. So the fourth part, right, of our flow is we teach about database and API testing. Of course, not how to build the software, but how to test the software. So database, what is database, how we test it, what is API, how we test it. And after you learn about this part, you are considered a backend tester. So you can work after you're done with the bootcamp. You can work as manual tester, you can work as front-end tester, you can work as back-end tester, and also if you know back-end and front-end, you're also considered a full stack tester. And of course, if you know automation, right, more and more the companies are switching into automation right now. And if you know about automation, about writing code, then of course the salaries are higher, and of course you're exposed to more and more job openings. So these are the technical tools that we teach in our boot camp, right? So we teach coding and we teach these technologies. But the thing is, you need to be prepared for the job. So in the job, there are some meetings done there. So there, like when you go to the interviews, you need to be prepared for the interviews. You need to create a resume so that you're ready for those interviews and everything. So of course, we also teach that part, which we call the soft skills: how to talk in the interviews, how to talk in the meetings when you go to a company, because of course when you go to a company, then you are going to be there and you're going to, like, you know the tools, but you don't know what how to express those things. So that's why once a week, right, every Wednesday, and I'm going to talk about the schedule in a bit, but once a week we do a class which is about, right, the what is software testing, what is database, let's say development, right, what is, sorry, software development, what is Jira, what are these tools that are used in the industry, and what are the meetings, what are the agile methodology, and all these things, so that you are prepared for the interviews and you are prepared for the job. And by the way, guys, I know that probably we're using some technical terms here, but we teach them step by step during our boot camp, so that you're ready for the job. So after this part, guys, after 6 months of the boot camp, then you are ready for the right to apply for jobs. So at the end of the boot camp, you're going to start applying for jobs. You're going to be ready for the interviews. We're going to prepare you for the interviews, and then you're going to start applying for a job. Even right when you're done with the boot camp, guys, we don't let you go. We still are there with you. We help you, right? We teach you how to build your resume. We teach you how to apply in the market, where to apply, when to apply. And then even when you start getting offers, how to talk to them, right, even after you get offers, and how to help you with the background check and everything that you need, so that you're ready for the job, and so that you are starting working there. So these are the tools that, right, that I mentioned before. So I know that probably there look a lot of tools here, a lot of different things here, but the purpose that I'm showing them here is to know, for you to know that what we're teaching, and then maybe you can go to Google, do some search, or maybe you have some friends or cousins or whatever in this field, and you can ask. They're teaching Java programming language. Is it a good programming language? They're teaching Selenium. Is it good? So do I need, so because there are also other tools which are similar to this one, and you can do a job with Selenium, you can do it with other tools, but this is one, right, which is used most commonly in the field. And if you know, as I said, I'm going to repeat it one more time, if you know one of them, if you go to a company that is using different tools, still they'll hire you, because the purpose is you know how to do this job. Doesn't matter which tool you're using, because the tool can be learned easily. And we have a lot of examples when we invite alumni to talk about their experience. I have had a lot of alumni telling that, you know what, I went to a company, they're using totally different tools, but still they hired me because I knew how to do the job. So I talked about Java, Selenium. Here we have MySQL, which is about database. I talked earlier. Postman and Rest Assured are API testing tools. We have TestNG and Cucumber, which are tools which allow us to create reports about what went wrong, where went wrong, create reports, and share it with the team, and then take screenshot when something goes wrong, right? Different things like that. So we have Jenkins, we have GitHub. These are tools that are used, right, for programming. So when you're collaborating with other people, you want to make sure that everything is, let's say, shared with the others. And if somebody makes an update, every people in the group needs to be updated, and also, right, this needs to be deployed to the server. So that's about Jenkins. So then we have Maven, JUnit, different tools, and Jira, which is one of the commonly used softwares in this field. Generally, guys, in IT industry, we use Jira as a software to split tasks between team members. So when there is a big thing that needs to be done in IT, it's split into small parts, and everybody gets a couple of jobs there. Let's say I'm going to do this job, it takes me 3 hours. I'm going to take this job, it takes me 5 hours. So you get a total of 40 hours per week, and then you try to do this job. And at the end of the week, by using Jira, the managers, they can see what you did, what you couldn't do, and then what you need to do for the next week. So these are the tools that, right, we're gonna teach you to you. We're gonna explain step by step, and you're gonna be ready for the market. So one more time, right? So what do? First, we have a lot of projects, homeworks, tasks that we give to you, right? We have a couple of big projects to simulate the work environment. We have, right, we So we have people in the same team from different backgrounds to collaborate with each other to make sure that you learn how these real life scenarios are. I need to experience those during the boot camp to make sure that you're ready for the job. We are teaching, as I said, the most like the tools that are in the current technology in the trend, the some strategies, some methods, some tools that are being used, and we're teaching them during our boot camp. All the classes are online. So as this info session right now, it's on Zoom. You're going to be watching the class the same way from home. This will be recorded and they will be shared with you. So every class, guys, after we're done with the class, we record the class and we create videos and we share the videos with you so that you might want to rewatch it, or maybe you couldn't join this class because you had an emergency or something, or you're not able to join, and then still you have the recording to make sure that you are prepared for the next class. And all of them will be accessible from anywhere, right? So by just having a Google account, we're going to share the videos with you and to make sure that you're able to watch them or to rewatch them after the class. So all the classes are live, but we're going to record them and share them with you. And the same thing with this info session, guys. So as of right now, we're recording it. We're going to share them with you. And if you want to watch it again to see something's there, or maybe share it with a friend that is interested, this video will be shared with you after the info session, probably tomorrow. So we have one-on-one training and mentorship programs. So we have a lot of alumni. They finished our boot camp. They started working in this field, and they have experience for like 5-6 years in this field. So our students, which were our students 5 years ago, now they work in this field and they have a lot of experience. So they will be there with you to help during this program, during these steps. So during the boot camp, we're gonna create groups. So the mentors will come, will share their experience. Then we're going to create groups. Every group of 10 students will have their mentor. They will meet once a week. They talk about the things in the field. And when they do the project, their mentor will be mentoring them. They'll be helping them to make sure that they are right. They are learning everything and they're practicing everything that they're learning during the boot camp. Uh, so we have we prepare you for the job market. I said, like, we help you with the interviews, right? To prepare for the interviews, we give you some common questions that are asked in the interviews in different topics that we teach. Then we help you prepare the resume. Then while you right when you're done with the boot camp, what we do at the end, we interview each of you one by one. We call it a mock interview. One of our teachers or mentors will make an interview to each of you individually and do like a 30-40 minutes interview. At the end of the interview, give you some bit feedback. You're talking fast, you have to go slow, you don't know this topic, please prepare a little bit more on this one. So give you some feedback so that you are learning and grasping whatever is being taught to you. And then if you pass our interview, guys, then you start applying for the jobs because we know that you're ready. If you don't pass our interview, we give you some feedback and you tell, you know what, prepare for a couple of weeks, and after a couple of weeks you come back and do another interview with that instructor or maybe another instructor to see if you learned, if you progressed. And then if when you're ready, again, as I said, we give you the green light so that you start applying for the jobs. And again, as I said, we have a lot of people that a lot of alumni network, which they graduated from the boot camp, probably hundreds of students right now. They're working in the field. Sometimes there's some job openings there. We help them, right, to make sure to introduce to recruiters and to make sure that probably there's a job opening, and we offer our students to this field. And at the end, right? And at the end, of course, our job placement team, and I'm gonna invite later Ahmet, which is the lead of the job placement team. They will help you guys with, even after the boot camp, with this job market during the job search. What are the things that you have to be careful, right? Probably some companies ask you to share your social security number. Are you supposed to share your social security number, to share your passport or green card, or whatever information that you have? Or sometimes they try to give you an offer which might be low, and then we teach you, will help you how to make sure that you are maximizing your compensation. Sometimes you get two offers, which one is higher, how to also increase this one, and how to make sure that you're getting the highest compensation from there. So all these things to make sure that you start from zero, you know nothing about this field, but at the end of 6 months, you're going to be able to look for a job, you're going to be able to apply for the job, you're going to be able to go to the interviews, ace interviews, and start working in this field. So this is our schedule, guys. And by the way, this is so I want to make sure that the times here are Easter time. Okay. So if you like, this is, let's say, New Jersey, New York time. Okay. If you are in a different time zone, I know that there are people here in this info session from Canada or from different parts of United States. If you are from California, then this time is from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. On Saturday, it's from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., right? So please make sure you calculate your time and you see for yourself, but these are Easter time. So the classes are Tuesday. These are the mandatory classes which we're teaching something and we build on top of it step by step. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 3 hours on Wednesday. Sorry, 3 hours on Tuesday, 3 hours on Wednesday, 3 hours on Thursday. So it's 9 hours during the weekdays. And then on Saturday, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., 4 hours on Saturday and 4 hours on Sunday. So that is a total of 17 hours of classes. We have teacher there, they're teaching you. We have assistants, which if a student has technical problems, they can ask without disturbing the class. They can ask for help there, and the assistants, like it will be 2 or 3 assistants during the class, they'll help you to make sure that everything goes fine. But beside these classes, guys, as I told you, we're gonna give homework. So after every class we give a homework to make sure that you are practicing whatever you're learning, to make sure that you are learning step by step. And then, right, so on top of these 17 hours per week, probably I would suggest an extra 5 to 10 hours of studying, right, studying per week, to make sure to do the homework, to recap. Sometimes some of the students might need more time because, let's say, they're slow learners. Some of the students, they need less time because they learn very fast, depending on yourself. But make sure that besides these classes, you're gonna also have extra hours to study on top of it. So as I said, like all these times are Easter time, so please make sure you do your calculations. And also, uh, I want you guys to know that this boot camp will start on February 16th. It will take 6 to 7 months to finish the boot camp. But if you want to find a job at the end, you need to dedicate your time. You need to make sure that you are learning, you are studying, you're doing the homework. Whenever it's the time for the project, you're doing the project, and then constantly you are going there. If you don't take the bootcamp seriously, guys, at the end, I can guarantee you that you're not going to be able to find the job. We sometimes I've encountered a couple of lazy students. They don't take the bootcamp seriously. They drop in the middle of it or whatever. If you don't take it seriously, your life cannot change by itself. If you want your life to change, you have to make sure that you commit and dedicate your time. And also another thing Eric mentioned earlier, I just want to recap it. If you don't speak English very well, doesn't matter your English, you don't need to be a native English speaker. Myself, I'm not a native English speaker. But of course, you need to be able to communicate. So you need English to talk, because when you go to the interviews, you're going to speak English. When you work in the job, you're going to speak English. But the good thing about the IT industry is, even if your English is not perfect, it doesn't matter. As long as you do the job, they will hire you and you're going to be able to work in this field. Okay. So now I'm gonna invite one of our alumni, and every time in our info sessions we invite somebody, and then he's gonna talk about his experience. He's gonna talk about his experience during the boot camp, and then after the boot camp when he was looking for a job, and then now that he's working for a couple of years that he's working as a software tester. And by the way, guys, if you have any questions, please use the chat section of the Zoom to ask your questions, and I'm gonna direct your questions to him, and we're gonna answer all your questions from from a student's perspective. Okay. Okay. So Berk, are you here? Okay, perfect, perfect. Hi, Berk, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you, Elian?
Good, good, perfect, perfect. So long time no see. I think I saw you like probably a year ago or two,
Yeah, I think it was like 2 years ago.
two
Yeah.
years ago. So, as I mentioned earlier, if you can explain about your experience, like did you have any background before the boot camp? And then during the boot camp, what was your difficulties and challenges? And after the boot camp, when you were finding, like, how long did it take for you to find the job? And now that you're working, how do you feel and what do you suggest to the students? And of course, I'm going to ask their questions to you.
Yeah, yeah, of course. So when I started, I was here, in one of the info sessions too. A couple of my friends took the boot camp, so they recommended it. And, I joined, like an info session like this. That's when I first got more information about Neotech. And when I started, I didn't have any IT background. I did personal training, so I didn't really do like anything with computers. And when I first started, I had my doubts, as everyone is, like if I could complete the 6 months, if I had enough time, because as like a personal trainer, it's a very weird schedule. It's not just 9 to 5. You're kind of working random hours. But I was able to, create time, like after I would study at midnights throughout the 6 months. And it was a little tricky getting the hang of it, but there was a lot of support from like the friends we made and people from the boot camp too, like the instructors like you, Sabah, and everyone else. Everyone was very helpful. So I never felt like I needed to use any outside resources to study. We can just use our class material and get help. And we would just study we made little groups in our like boot camp with friends. So like a group of 4 or 5. So we would study after class. And that was very helpful. And yeah, we learned a lot in the 6 months. When I look back at it now too, I kind of get amazed on how much we learned in 6 months. And then at the end, last 2 months was when I put more time into it as it was getting closer to, finishing the boot camp. I started studying a lot more and trying to put more effort. And I started my job like a month after this boot camp finished, so it didn't take me that long, but the 2 months before I finished the boot camp that was a lot of studying. That I think that's the part that really stands out on how soon you can get a job or if like how long it takes. It's how much time you put in those last couple of months, especially, I mean, the whole boot camp, but especially the last 2 months, you either kind of drop back or you start to realize you got to put more time. And thankfully, I realized I need to put more time into it. And yeah, so now I've been with the same place for 2 years, ever since finishing there. It's in the healthcare industry, and it's good. I love it now. It's the first couple of months where when I was first starting, I was very nervous, but when I first started, like my first couple of weeks, I realized like how much we learned, and then I felt a lot confident area compared to the other QAs on how much technical skills I had. The other QAs obviously, they've been there a while, so they knew their stuff too, but I felt like I had so much better like automation and technical skills than them, which made me feel very confident. And then we built, automation tools and everything like that. And a couple of weeks ago, I did my first interview, so that was fun.
Oh, you did interview to as a new hire, let's
New
say.
QA, yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's good. And then did you pass him or not?
So we had two, and then we got one of them. Yeah, they were
Don't
contractors.
don't be
They
mean,
came.
man. Be helpful to them.
Yeah, I mean, we
Don't
only
be
had to
like that.
hire one, so we only got one of them. But yeah, I wasn't too picky. It was very basic.
Yeah, that's good. So yeah, I remember when you got your message, you were very happy. Like I think you were the first in your batch that found the job, and
Yeah,
you were like, "Oh my God, I'm happy I got the offer." And it was like I think in a couple of weeks you got an offer.
yeah,
And of course, sometimes it's a little bit luck. Sometimes, of course, how much on most of the part is how much effort you put there, and then also timing of the market. Sometimes the market can be better or worse, but there are a lot of things there. But if you take the boot camp seriously, of course, it will help you a lot, and you'll be able to find a job faster. And generally, so that everybody knows, I just want to make sure, and we're clear here. At the end of the boot camp, guys, after 6 months, it takes you 2 3 months, depending on your skills and everything. It takes you about 2 to 3 months to find a job. And sometimes we have students who have found a job even after 5 or 6 months, but the average is, let's say, 2 to 3 months after the boot camp. So I don't want anybody to think that, oh, I'm going to be done with the boot camp on September, and then on September 1st, I'm going to start working. There's no such a thing. You're going to go to the interviews, and it's going to take some time. So one of the things is, did you have any background before the boot camp? Like what was your domain that you studied or working or whatever?
yeah. I was a personal trainer, so I just worked in like the basically the healthcare industry. I went to school for that too, so I didn't. It wasn't anything related to IT.
Okay, and then so you started with no experience, and you said the first couple of months of boot camp was a little bit difficult until you learned the first part of
Yeah.
coding. And also, like we have a question here. What about, do we need any other certificates or stuff like besides the boot camp? Did you have any certificates when you started working?
No, I didn't, and no one really ever asked either. They kind of just I just had my experience in boot camp, and that was enough. I didn't really have a job interview where they really cared for college degree or anything like that.
Okay, and but now probably you might want some other certificates. So certificates are good. So there are some certification things that we suggest you guys, and if you want to get them, but they're not a must. If you want to have some plus, of course, you can definitely get those certificates. But when you go to apply for a job, they're gonna ask you if you know the job. They don't care about your background or anything, but they ask about your skills if you're able to do it. By the way, guys, if you have any questions, please ask your questions to Berk, or if we don't have any questions, he's gonna go. So since we have him here, as I said, from a student perspective, what he thinks, is this boot camp difficult? Can this one be done from a person who doesn't have any background in IT? So we have Karina Torres here asking, do you have access to the instructors when you need them? So I just want you to answer, not myself.
Yeah, yeah, we always do. So a good thing about so during the boot camp, there's always so we had a chat dedicated that you can ask your questions basically 24/7, and it would get answered very quickly, whether it's technical or just normal questions. And even during the classes, so since the instructor's, talking about the like talking about the class, so he can't just, answer every little question for everyone. But if you posted on the chat, there was other instructors that wasn't on the video call and they could answer your questions on there too. So there was always multiple instructors that could answer your questions at all times, which was very helpful.
So for that reason, guys, now I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show now there's some teacher there teaching a class. Sabah is actually teaching there. And this is the tool that we use. You see, as of right now, let's see, it's 8:46, right? So they ask a question, he gave a task, and you see they are talking to the teacher. They can communicate with the teacher, and we have assistant channel. That's a channel that if they have any problems, we have our assistants which are helping there right during the class, and these things here are live. I just wanted to show you that we have these tools that we use, and we help the students during the classes and also outside of the classes. When they have any questions, definitely we have our assistants which will help them with technical problems. The other things about the cost and thing, we're gonna continue with the presentation. We're gonna talk about the tuition, the monthly payment. Those are not questions related to Berk. Uh, do we have students who have not been offered a job? If you finish the boot camp, guys, and if you start applying and you keep applying, you're gonna find a job. But if you stop applying, then of course we have some kinds of students which they stop applying, they lose their motivation, and then we try to motivate them, but it depends on the person. So if they continue applying, they'll find a job. Maybe not in a month or two, maybe in 3, 4, 5. So depending on them. Uh, so about the computer, Mac or Windows, both of them are acceptable. You can use any of them. I don't understand this one. I don't know. Maybe Berk, you understand? Is there state testing after the boot camp? I don't know what means state testing. So after the boot camp, guys, we do mock interview, which is like we are doing similar interviews that are done in the like in the job interviews, and then you go to the job, apply to the job, and then you go to the interview. So there is no state testing, something like that. I don't know. Probably talking about some state testing. Any other questions, guys, for Berk? So you said like while they're asking, maybe you said that first couple of months. Can you talk a little bit about your experience first couple of months of the job? So how did you feel, and then what about now? How do you feel now?
Yeah, so in the first couple of months, they basically gave me like a month or two. I think it was like 2 months to kind of learn their software. They gave me all kind of resources on like how to do testing, how to do automation. So it was like another 2 months of training they gave me before I actually started doing any work. And it was pretty simple. It was kind of just more of like a refresher after the boot camp. It wasn't anything complicated. And after when I started, they paired me up with a mentor too on the like after the first 2 months when I finished the training, and that's lasted a year. So every time I had a question, I had like the mentor to go to. They would help me, learn the application a little bit better. Or if I had any technical questions too, I can go to her. And now I feel very good. The only person I really need help from now is the devs, when I need to talk to. I still work with other QAs, but it's more to just help each other out, not going for help as much anymore, which is good. And yeah, I feel pretty good now. It's when I look back and even compared to like a couple of months ago, I like there's always something to learn. We're always working on new projects. So when you learn something, you finish it, you start a new project, and it's exciting because you're always doing something different too.
And by the way, if you have any job openings to your in your job, don't forget to refer to
Yeah.
us. You get a referral fee, and also you have students like yourself probably, which will be good to have in your team. So we have some quick questions here. So what basic computer skills do we need to have before the bootcamp starts?
Um, just learning how to, if you can use your own computer comfortably, I feel like that's enough. If you
Using
can
the
download
computer.
stuff to your computer and follow instructions, join Zoom, I think it should be good. Yeah.
By the way, Medina, just to help with your curiosity, you can ask for in here we're gonna share, but of course you can give a call later. We're gonna give you the communication places. If we can share with you some free sample classes to see what things are taught in the classes and the way that are taught. Just don't forget to ask for the free class, and we're gonna share them with you. Uh, and then what did they ask the interviews? If we go over the interview questions, it's too many. But were the interview questions similar to our mock interview? Let's answer that way.
Yeah, it was 90% same questions, I would say. 90% of the stuff they asked was stuff we learned in the boot camp. The other 10% was just common sense questions, it wasn't that tough, but I felt very good prepped after when I went to the interview. I was nervous, but I felt confident.
Perfect. So, and what about did they ask you coding challenges during the interviews, or just like soft skill questions generally?
No, it was just they asked me like coding questions, but verbally. I didn't have to type it out. And a lot of scenarios they asked me, like soft skills scenario, like what would you do in this situation? Things like
So
that.
probably you didn't go through too many interviews because you were lucky and probably got a offer pretty
Yeah,
quick.
yeah, I went through a couple. Because when I got my offer too, I started 3 weeks later. So I was going through interviews there just to, see what's out there. But yeah, they were all kind of the same. They didn't ask you, like for me at least, I didn't have to code in front of them. It was just hypothetical scenarios.
Okay, perfect. And so did what about the tools that you're using? Are you using same tools that we taught in the bootcamp, or are there different similar tools?
They're similar. So when I first started, like I know we learned like Selenium, Java. So when I first started, we had a tool called Test Rail or Test Complete. We used that for a little bit. It wasn't good. And then since I had experience with the Selenium, then we transitioned over to a Cucumber, like using Cucumber, Karate, and Java. So we built a framework around that. But having the skills from Selenium and Cucumber, since they're their most like known tools, really helped me work on the other ones too. Like it took me maybe a month to learn those tools after learning like the ones from the bootcamp.
Okay, so was the company you work uh, part of the placement with Neotech? So by the way, guys, you don't apply to our companies, you're applying to other companies. We just teach you how to apply and where to apply, and you apply on your own. But of course, whenever you have any questions, any things, we help you with that part. So they're not they you can apply anywhere you want with any tool that you want, but of course we teach you some of the tools. Do you work remotely or hybrid or on office?
No, I've been remote since I started.
You have been remote. Okay, good. And what about, generally, that's the question they ask. What about the payment? Is it like 6 digits? Are you there, or what is?
Yeah, yeah, they're all the one I got was 6 digits too. All the jobs I interviewed for were mostly over like 95K. That was the range. There was one I think lower than that, but that was only like manual testing, but most of them were like over 95 or 100K.
And are you working like full time, or are you contract based?
I'm full time. Yeah. So
Okay,
they
and you have all
offer like
extra benefits.
benefits and like a yearly bonus. Some have sign-on bonuses. Some companies do mine didn't. But they have like yearly bonuses, like stocks and like all kind of like benefits like that.
Yeah, that's good. And probably to close this interview between us. So are you happy with the career right now, and do you suggest to other people to do this one? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it changed my life a lot. I know that's, like cliche thing to say, everyone says it, but it did. I was working like in person, 50 hours a week as training, and then transitioning from that to remote. I've moved like 3 different states since I, started working remotely, so which is nice. And yeah, I really like it. It's very nice that to feel very appreciated for the work you do, like especially since it's online. It's not like a lot of labor you're putting into like physically. So to be able to do something with the skills you learn, like using your brain and doing it online, and if, like getting, good feedback, being appreciated for that is a very good feeling. That's how I feel about it. Yeah, I don't think I'll really leave the IT field. I like it, so I'll probably stay for a while.
Okay, that's good. And probably like in the future when you have a little bit more experience, maybe you can also mentor our students. We
Yeah,
can invite you to mentor students and probably teach classes if you want to do it, of course. It's up to
yeah.
you. But yeah. So thank you very much for coming, Berk, and for answering all their questions.
Mhm.
And then we're gonna continue with the rest of the presentation, but it was very, very thankful for you coming and sharing your experience. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Thanks, Celia, and good luck, everyone. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So now I'm going to invite Ahmet to continue with his part. Thank you, Ahmet.
Thank you, Leon. Thank you, Berg. It was great to see him too. Hello, everyone. My name is Ahmed. I'm one of the instructors here at Network Academy, and I happen to be a senior QA engineer. And I'm going to be continuing with the rest of the presentation. Let's see. Let me share my screen. By the way, I'm seeing some great questions. I love it. I will have a Q&A section at the end, so we'll go over like more deep with your questions because I'm pretty sure some of you are waiting to learn more about our pricing, but we're going to keep you a little bit more here before we do that, but I'll keep it short and quick for you. There we go. So you already are aware of how you're going to be learning the process. They're going to be live classes, individual projects, group projects, office hours, homework, and tasks. There will be review classes, quizzes, mentor sessions, which is something that we are really proud of. And there will be a final assessment. What is it? It is going to be a mock interview. I think we got a question about like a final state exam, test or something like that. So maybe the most like the closest thing would be our mock interviews. So what is about mock interview? Mock interviews happens when at the end of our program to see if you're eligible to be released into the job market. And what is a job market and what is a job placement? As you guys are aware, we have designed this program for you to change your career from one thing to a software tester, so to a QA engineer. So this is our plan, and our plan includes all of these things. What are those? Mock interviews, as I mentioned, resume building. So we'll help you to build your resume with whatever the market needs. Okay, so that will be covered, and it will be a tailor fit with your existing experience. We will show you how to apply for jobs, where to apply, when to apply, how you're going to answer. We have a database of interview questions from like many various companies. Plus, we have the most commonly asked questions that we will go over throughout the program. We will be working on your soft skills. What does that mean? I'm sure like many of you are already aware of the corporate environment, how to answer questions, how to present yourself in an interview. But regardless, we'll go over that. And that will also include a lot of things about how it works as like a tester on the daily basis. We'll give you an extensive knowledge on the market, how to again, what type of jobs are there, what to do when you receive an offer, and also we will be giving you one-on-one mentoring with this process. So whenever you need someone, obviously within the business hours, you will have someone to talk with you, and you will have access to our alumni network. People like Berk, I mean, I'm sure you can go back to our YouTube channel and you can watch our previous info sessions, and we have like different guest speakers there. You will have access to wonderful, bright software testers out there that is actively working in the job market. And guess what happens when you have an access to alumni network. When there's a job opening, they let us know. So the more we continue in this process, more students we have, more jobs that we can reach out to. And my favorite part, the last thing that I left, the salary negotiation. So I remember Berk had like multiple offers, and we were able to negotiate his like salary to the highest point. And we are able, this is again like my favorite part. And I'm sure once you guys also complete our program and get the first job offer and the second one, we'll be able to do the same. I mean, it doesn't have to be the second one. We can still negotiate with the one offer at hand too. But this is what we do. One thing that I want to emphasize is all of this thing, when it comes to job placement, this sport, the job placement process continues even after you graduate, even after you find a job. So if you're out there looking for, like if you are shopping for a boot camp to join, this is something that you need to really take into consideration, because again, this will be a long run, even in the future, when you are like in the job market or you're actively working. If you want to change your job, we'll still be there to help you. So this is something that I wanted to mention. You can do your own research right now. You can go to Glassdoor, and this is like the average pay that you will be getting. Obviously, things can change, right? The markets can change, and we are aware of it. We've seen a lot, right? Like this is not the first time that we're doing this. We've seen a market where it was below 90s. We've seen a market where the least amount of our students was getting like 120s, 130s, $130,000 annually. And now it's more stabilized, and now it's back to what it was before COVID era. And we are aware of the things, but the thing is, we will be here to support you no matter what. The best way to show the market, the real market, I guess, would be the offer letters that our students are receiving. Okay, so I'm going to switch my screen to the next one. And these are some, okay, we've been a busy January. It's been good. We're getting like some good offers. This is one of them. This is coming from like a week ago. And 90K, the start date is February 17. This is another one a day before that this came. Let's see. Oh yeah, this one is $52 an hour. And I guess this was supposed to be, let me double check. Yeah, this is another offer. We have this one right here. And as you can see, there are like different offers. One of them is annual based, the other one is hour based. We're gonna cover all of that in our classes. So at the end of the bootcamp, you will have no questions about, oh, why is it hour based? Which one is better? Which one gives me more flexibility, and so on and so forth. This is another one. I'm just gonna go down. The start date is February 24, 90K. So these are what we're seeing right now. This one has a $10,000 bonus. So yeah, this makes it to 100K. So not bad. This is another one. You see, we have different titles. Software consultant. What was the title on this one? Let's see. Software, then SW quality engineer. That's why we were making sure that you are aware of like different titles. But yeah, this is 48 hours on the low side, but not bad. We can go down. This one is a semi. This is 95K. We have another here. Let me go down to find. This is actually one of our international offers. It's a 104K in Swiss franc. Here you go, another 100K. We have so many of them, just for you to see how the market looks and what you're going to be expecting when you finish our program. Once again, all the questions, please put it in the chat. I'm going to scroll up and see and answer your questions. Here are some of the companies that our alumni is actively working on. Again, like a big name company obviously sounds good, but there are a lot of benefits to little startups too. We're going to cover to that. And again, I've seen some great questions about how the job market is looking right now, especially with the layoffs, and like if you are still able to find a job fully remote or hybrid, or do they want you to come to the office? We can talk about it at the end of it. I'm gonna leave the microphone back to Eric, and he's gonna continue with the rest of the presentation. But stick around, I'll be around.
All right, thanks, Ahmet. Great job there. All right. Hey guys, if you could just give me some acknowledgement that you can see my screen. It should have the names of the companies there. All right, great. Thank you. So when it comes to education, and a lot of you know this, if you've looked into college either for yourself or maybe your children, the cost of higher education has gotten out of control. I mean, you're talking about in some cases as high as $200,000 a year, assuming that you don't have I mean, total, I should say, not not a year, but 200,000 for some private universities over the course of 4 years. If you don't have a grant or a scholarship, it's gotten really insane, hasn't it? And even other boot camps, boot camps out there are over $13,000 on average. And then there's Neotech Academy. So what we do is very unique because we realize a lot of people want to get involved in IT for a number of reasons, the higher salary potential, the flexibility, all the things that you heard Burke talk about a moment ago, and others, another alumni that we have. But a lot of people can't write a check, or swipe their credit card or their debit card for tuition in a lot of cases. So what we did was we made it so that it's attainable for just about anybody. So you can get this high quality education where we're going to help you get your foot in the door. We help you out with job placement and even a money back guarantee. Well, we're taking all the risk. We do all of that for you and make the entrance into this very, very minimal. So let's talk about that. This is the part that I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for. So here's how this whole thing works. Our regular tuition is $5,249. And we offer what's called an early bird discount, where that's $200 off. And that brings the tuition down to $5,049. Okay, now watch this. We're not saying that you've got to come up with the whole 5,000 before you start, before you get going. This is paid in 7 monthly installments of 721. So 7 installments of 721 per month. And the second part, probably the best way of putting this, it's not 2 tuitions, guys. You're not investing in 2 tuitions. It's only 1 tuition. We're simply breaking it into 2 parts to help you, to make it more attainable for you. Ahmet did a great job talking about the job placement earlier, and that's one of his specialties. So the second part of the tuition, again, only 1 tuition, and this is to help you. You're not responsible for the second part of tuition until you find that job. So when you land that first job, as it says here on the screen, 85% of your first monthly salary after you find the job is paid in 4 monthly installments. Not 85% of the entire year, is 85% of your first monthly salary after you find a job. And the reason we structure it like that is, think about it like this, guys. We're incentivized to help you land that first job. So rather than being on the opposite side of the table, so to speak, we are now on the same side of the table because it's in our best interest to help you find that first job. So rather than doing like most boot camps and saying, okay, it's got to be $13,000+, and they're not even giving you, as I would argue, as quality an education that we're giving you with all the extras and so forth, we divide it up, we make it very attainable for you. Now let's go through some of the questions that you're going to be having. I'll address those in these slides here. First of all, though, let's bring the tuition down even further. It's already inexpensive enough as it is, guys. Let's bring it down even further. And how are we going to do that? Well, there are discounts when you are referred by a Neotech student or alumni. If you sign up in groups, a group of 2, each student gets $150 off. So what I just mentioned to you a moment ago, another $150 off if you sign up in groups of 2. Groups of 3, each student gets another $200 off. Groups of 4 or more, reach out to us and we will let you know what we can work out for you as far as that goes. But yes, we encourage people to sign up in groups because you can help motivate each other. You can help each other out with homework and maybe down the road, even refer job opportunities to each other. Now, what if I change my mind later? This is a big question that people have. Well, look at it this way, guys. There's no deposit, there's no application fee. You pay nothing until the boot camp actually kicks off. You start paying when the classes begin, not before, and you can cancel for free anytime until the boot camp starts. And there's a 30-day money back guarantee. So there's a 100% refund if you decide to leave. And that's until you complete your first month. So again, we're addressing all the big objections that people have on why they don't get involved in IT. They might like what it sounds like on the surface. Hey, flexibility, I can make more money, but the tuition is just, I can't afford it. We're making it affordable for you. We're on the same side of the table. We're now taking the risk. Money back guarantee in writing, no questions asked. To learn more about the bootcamp, simply go to neotechacademy.com/bootcamp. You can book a call with our admissions team. That's at neotech.live/call. If you're not ready to call, that's fine. Submit your interest. Just simply go to neotechacademy.com/apply. But guys, our boot camp is starting when again? I think you know the answer. We've said it so many times. And it's right there on your screen. February 16. We are getting very close to it. You know, we're at what, 10 days away from this boot camp actually starting. And think about where you are now, like I said earlier, and imagine where you could be 6 months later with a skill set that nobody can take from you. And that's the beautiful thing about having a skill set. Once you've got it, nobody can take it away. And just imagine what you can do with it and maybe end up just like Burke. And maybe one of you will be one of our guest alumni on one of our info sessions at some point in the future. Email us for any questions, team@neotechacademy.com. Again, you can schedule a phone call. That's neotech.live/call. You see the phone number up there, 929-566-3919. Now, quickly, I won't go through all of these in the interest of time, but let's run through a few of them, okay? So why join Neotech Academy? And let's do a comparison. Let's compare what it is that we do, what we offer, to if you just go out there and try to learn it on your own, or you take some online courses, or maybe even go to university, which can be very expensive. Well, if you're self-taught, how much time is it going to take? Well, who knows? People by nature procrastinate. I have a friend who was telling me for years he was going to read War and Peace, and I would ask him, well, so what chapter are you on? War and Peace. Whenever we would meet up for lunch or dinner, and he's like, I'm still on chapter 2. I'm like, all right, well, it's probably going to take you about 30, 40 years to read that book. So people procrastinate by nature. What's going to be different in your life, 6 months, a year from now, 2 years from now? But when it comes to learning this, if you're self-taught, who knows how long it's going to take you. University is 4 years or more. Online courses, self-paced. We're 6 months. Very clearly defined curriculum, 6 months. Learning, well, you're the expert, because you're teaching yourself. With us, it's hands-on, live with real traders. University, well, when I took business classes in university, I had professors who had never started a business before. They had never run a business. So it's hit or miss. Sometimes you get people who know what they're talking about. Sometimes they just know more. They know things more in a theoretical sense. With us, it's guys in the industry who have been doing this for a long time. Career services, well, again, if you're self-taught, really doesn't exist. University, limited. Online courses, nah. With us, it's extensive, individualized, and again, we are motivated. We're incentivized to help you land that first job. The learning content, self-taught, well, it's up to you to decide what's important, what you need to learn. With us, again, it's market-driven because we keep up with changes in the market. University, too theoretical, like I was saying. Online courses, it really depends. And one-on-one mentorship, tech support, nearly 24/7. So really, we're checking all those boxes that you have concerns about. How do I get involved? How can it be? How can the price be brought down? How can the tuition be brought down? I really want to do this. Well, we've done that for you. We've made it very attainable for you. We're going to give you all kinds of support. We're going to hold your hand along the way, and we'll always be here to answer your questions, help you land that first job. We're leaving no stone unturned. Why Neotech Academy? I hope you see this tonight, guys, that we are passionate and we're motivated in helping our students. The program, it really is tested, it's proven. I'm sure you probably gleaned that from listening to Burke earlier in that wonderful interview. We constantly work on guiding our students towards the best jobs in the market. And again, we're here to help you build your career from the ground up. And again, we are incentivized to do that, to help you along the way. Even if we weren't incentivized, we'd still be helping you. All right. So what I want to do is I want to bring back Ahmet. Elion had to run here, but we're going to answer any questions, any additional questions that you guys might have. You've been a great group so far, asking some very, very intelligent questions. And you can go ahead and fire away if you've got any more questions for us before we wrap up tonight.
Thank you, Eric. This was great. So I was seeing some questions, just left no stones unturned. I wanted to mention Faraz asked the question, but I guess that was like not sent to everyone, but sent to host and panels. That's why we're able to see it. So this is the question about whether or not this is so. Okay, maybe I can just copy and paste it here and talk about this one. There you go. This is the question. So it's the question itself. And my background is in the medical field. Primary concern, will I be able to secure a job, remote or hybrid for 80 to 100K? And with the job market is evolving rapidly and companies bringing back people into the office and also the layoffs, what is the market looking like? So I'm just summarizing the question. And what does the Neoti Academy do to secure the job? What additional skills or certifications would enhance my chances of landing a role in this field? So when it comes to I'm going to start from the last. When it comes to the certifications or any additional skills, I would say, first of all, your existing experience is definitely a plus. The second thing is obviously I would say this field itself, it works on experience. And when you join a bootcamp, it is a concentrated portion of your work experience. So what you learn will be whatever you will be doing in a real work environment. Plus, we also, something that we bring to the table is that we focus on the interview questions a lot. So we are teaching you how to do the job on the side. From the early stages, we also teach you how to ace those interviews. How does that happen? Again, when it comes to the interviews, the questions are we're not here to invent the wheel, right? So it's almost like we always get the similar questions. And again, we already have a really good database with the questions from different companies, thanks to our alumni network. And thanks to that, these are the stuff that we will be giving you. And again, we will be giving you a tailor-fit resume that will help you with your job search. When it comes to the second part of the question, when it comes to the remote hybrid or in office, I would say, okay, so things have been changing, especially with I'm sure some companies are following major federal companies and stuff like that. And with the changes, I'm hearing this, some of our students are also invited to the office when they were fully remote. But the good part is, even before we were introduced to the remote environment, which is, COVID era, this job, I was a software tester and we were still going with the hybrid part. Okay. So which means 2 to 3 days in the office or the vice versa. And we were staying at home the rest of the time. But that doesn't necessarily mean there are no fully remote jobs. The good part is now that the companies have been hiring people and they have understood the fact that they can actually maintain the same job remotely. Why would they want to have a work an office and stuff like that? Sorry to take the answer. No, this was a long answer, but this was a great question. So I wanted to mention about that. Let me go through the questions. The schedule is just this one. Thank you, Eric, for pulling it up. Do we have a physical location that we can visit? Madina is asking that. Unfortunately, this is all remote, just hopefully the work that you're going to be getting. But like we all, and like this is the beauty of it. All of our instructors are located in different locations, even like with my partners there. I'm located in Washington, D.C. We have like Eric is located here, like in Florida. We have New Jersey, New York. Obviously, with what we do though, we do meetups. So we had it in New York, we had it in Los Angeles, and the next one is going to be in Miami, where you can come and see and meet with us. I'm sure if you follow us on Instagram, you'll be able to see some pictures, so that the next one will be shared there for you guys to get. The payment question from Master P: the late fees for late payments. That part is the easiest part. We're really flexible since we are offering in-house installments. Don't worry about it. We can just adjust to your monthly payment style, so it doesn't really necessarily have to be the day that our regular part is usually whenever we start the program, but we can change it. So that part you can talk with our support team. They will be helping you there. Let me see if I'm missing any questions here. If I'm missing it, please feel free to just drop it again, copy and paste what you've asked, and that's something that I didn't cover. But even if I missed one actually about the Canada offer, like Canadian offer. So we had it in our offer letters. Let me quickly share my screen and show how it looks. Can I share my screen? Thank you. So this is supposed to be from Toronto. Here you go. Hope you guys can see it. This is one of them, 85,000. Obviously, this is Canadian dollars. And for Canadian students, our pricing is in Canadian dollars. So it's not USD, just so you know. Okay. Let me go back. So again, our tuition fee. And for any other questions that I didn't cover here tonight, here are what you can do. Like, you can email us directly to team@neotechacademy.com, or you can schedule a phone call, which we love to talk to you. Which we love to talk to you. But if you are having trouble with any of those, you can always call us. We'll get back to you. Depending on the availability, but the scheduling a call is the best way to go. Let me go back. Perfect. So you see, I'm already seeing some, like, I'm ready to enroll, but you guys are not able to see. It's like the host part. So we'll be happy to have you over. This is the great step. I've been doing this job long enough, and I couldn't be more happy about it, And this is a great job to be in. And I know that things can, like, the market might look different from different perspectives, but all we see if you are consistent and if you follow our guideline, you'll get there, you'll find the job, and you already did the amazing thing by getting here. So this is you did the half of the things. The rest half is just to join us on February 16th and go with the process. I guess that would be all. If you don't have any other questions, I'm gonna let you guys go. But pleasure meeting you all. It's a great crowd, and I'll see you in our classes.